Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the classroom. Today is Tuesday, March 24th, and our current time of filming this video is 11:15 a.m. So I'm going to show you what that looks like on our clock here. So our hour hand is on the 11, and our minute hand is right here on our 3, which is our 15 mark. And remember, if you're not sure where the minute hand is, we start up here at the 12, we don't count the 12, and we start counting by fives. 5, 10, 15. This is 11, 15. In 2 hours from now, let's think about what time it would be. Well, 1 hour from now would be 12:15, and then 1 hour from that would be 1:15. So that is our time for right now. And yesterday we talked about fractions. We looked at a figure and we talked about what fraction of the figure was shaded in. That's some of our math language that we use. So I have another set of figures today. I have more than one figure today that I'm going to show you. So my figures here are split into fourths. So these are the size of a fourth. We call them fourths. But we have 3 figures here. And notice that these 2 figures are colored all the way in. That means that this is a whole, but then we have another whole. And then the question is this one over here a whole? If we were in class right now, my kids would probably tell me that this one is not a whole because there's only one piece of the fourth shaded in on this figure. When we put all this together, we have to think about how many holes are actually colored in. Well, 2 of them. But it's not just 2 holes. We still have this little bit of a leftover over here. And we know that this stands for 1 piece of a fourth. 1 piece is shaded in of the size of a fourth. So I wanted to show you what that looks like. When I notate that, it's going to look like 2 holes and then 1 piece of a fourth. This figure represents 2 1/4. And then if I looked at just the fourths, this could also be something else. So if all these figures are broken into fourths, and I count how many of them are colored in, there would be 4 here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is not 9 holes, but this is 9 pieces of a fourth. So this also would be the improper fraction 9/4. So these are equivalent. That means that they take up the same amount of space, but we can notate them 2 different ways. So this is 2 1/4 or 9 pieces of a fourth. So that's our math concept for today. And I'm going to move on to our interesting facts. And so I've kind of switched over and I've been using this book called The Totally Awesome Book of Useless Information, which I don't think any kind of information is useless, but this is a really entertaining book of facts. So the 2 that I've pulled out for you today, the first one is that Benjamin Franklin, a lot of people know him as a famous inventor. He actually invented the rocking chair. I did not know that. And our second fact is that the peach, like the fruit, the peach, was the first fruit eaten on the moon. So why it was a peach, we don't know, but that is the first fruit that was eaten on the moon. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So those are our 2 facts for today. And now I'm going to go ahead and introduce our special guest, which is one of my awesome coworkers and friends. We're going to welcome Mr. Bowie. Good morning, Mr. Bowie.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing today?
I'm good. We're so excited to have you here.
Well, I'm glad that I could come today. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, of course. So the people watching at home know that every day we kind of have a focus of what we kind of talk about to give the kids to do at home or think about at home. So we're going to let them kind of see what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to start with my first question to you. We're all spending a lot of downtime lately at our houses, trying to stay away from people and making sure we keep our germs at bay. So what are some of your favorite things to do right now at home when you are practicing your social distancing?
Well, at this time, while I'm practicing my social distancing, I'm really getting into watching old movies from my childhood, stuff that I remember that puts a smile on my face.
And that's so important because in these weird times, we have to find ways to stay excited. I know one thing for me and for us in the building is doing our news show. We really miss you guys at home, and so this is kind of a way to keep us going, and I definitely agree. I love watching movies. I think a lot of people are watching Netflix these days, and thinking about things we used to watch that really just make us happy. So that's really important.
Well, something else that I love to do that I've really been getting into more that we have lots of free time is finding books that I love to read as well.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so, what are some of your favorite books?
Well, right now, I really love to read books that are nonfiction text. Nonfiction textbooks are books that tell the truth. They talk about a lot of historical texts as well. And in these nonfictional texts are books that I already have that talk about regions that are in Africa, the Middle East, and even parts of Asia. I really find books that talks about their history extremely interesting. And I've been doing a lot of it lately.
Awesome. And I love nonfiction too. I was just telling Mr. Bowie how much I love to read about the Titanic around April with the anniversary. So we're definitely going to be planning a special edition of the news for that day. So stay tuned for that. I love nonfiction. I love character books. I'm actually reading The Curse of Camp Cold Lake.
Cool.
Goosebumps right now, and I'm reading that on my channel. And today we're going to read the next 2 chapters. So if you've been watching the first 2 chapters, we're going to carry on our story because, of course, we have a camping theme in here. So I love to read The Curse of Camp Cold Lake every year with my students. And since they can't be here, we're still doing that online. So that's awesome. So here's the big question. What is one way that kids can read at home if they don't have a lot of books, or maybe they've read all the books that they have at their house and they don't have their library books anymore? What is something that they can do?
One thing that I found that is a fantastic online reading resource is Epic. We are very fortunate to have the program Epic that is online, and it's open to any of the students that have access to a device, whether it be a cell phone, a Chromebook, a desktop. It doesn't even matter. You can read it from anywhere. And currently, there are some books that I remember some students in my classroom even reading are the Wrigley's, believe it or not, or even the Guinness's Book of World Records.
Oh, and those are on Epic?
Those are on
Ooh,
Epic. So if
that's
you would
awesome.
like to read some literature that talks about some cool events of people breaking records, setting new feats, or doing some really cool things, definitely check out online the Guinness's Book of World Records. My students, my class love reading about that.
Awesome. And if you don't know, if you haven't been reading on Epic at home yet, you can use your class code to access that. But I've also heard that Epic is doing a free trial right now due to a lot of kids being out of school. So you can definitely have your parents check into that for you if you can't remember your class code, or I'm sure you can shoot a message to your teacher on Dojo or Remind, and they will give you that class code. And Mr. Bowie actually just gave me an idea. I think I'm going to, in my Google Classroom for my class, I'm going to put a assignment link in there. And if you do go on Epic and you read some of the Ripley's books that Mr. Bowie is suggesting, you can actually send me some facts that you find in the Ripley's book, and I will use that on one of our news segments. So I'm going to leave that in the Google Classroom this afternoon. And if you find an interesting fact, not only in those books, but in any books that you're reading that you think would be interesting to put on our show, you can send me that request and I'll use some of those.
Definitely.
So that's a really good idea.
Sounds really cool.
And one other thing that I wanted to share, having to do with books, this is the perfect day that seemed to happen like this. Starting tomorrow, you will be able to come to the school. There will be a box out there from what I understand, and at nighttime there will be a file cabinet where you can access the bottom drawer, and you can actually come and get books from the school. So if you don't have books at home or you've read all of them, some people have donated books that they don't need anymore, and you are welcome to come and get those. You can return them and switch them out. If you like them, you can keep them. So definitely come and check that out. That will be outside of the school for you to access. And so that's really exciting. It will not start today, but it starts tomorrow. So we encourage you to come and check that out. And yeah, so we're really excited about that. And thank you, Mr. Bowie, for
having
being with
me.
us today.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.